Hello and welcome. This is West Middle School Sports 101, the information parents need to know about for middle school sports for the 2022-2023 school year. My name is Brian York. I'm the West Middle School Activities and Athletics Director. You can reach me at this email or this phone number for any concerns you may have or questions you may have. Sports here at West. In the fall, we offer football, cross country, cheerleading, and volleyball. All practices will begin on August 15th. That is a week before school starts. Football is one team, practices together, plays together, 7th or 8th grade, all one team. We do not have a separate 7th grade team and an 8th grade team. It is one team. Cross country, they do practice together, but the competitions are split by gender. Cheerleading, 7th or 8th grade, all one team, all together. Volleyball, for 7th or 8th grade girls, games are split by grade. 7th graders will play 7th graders, 8th graders will play 8th graders. For winter, we have basketball for 7th and 8th grade, and that is split by gender and grade. So there is one team for 7th grade girls, one team for 7th grade boys, one team for 8th grade girls, one team for 8th grade boys. And again, cheerleading, 7th or 8th grade, all together, all one team. And that season begins on Monday, October 17th. For spring, we have track. Those practices begin on February 27th. And again, track practices all as one team, but the competitions are split by gender. Before your student can try out, they need to have 3 forms signed. The first of which is the MSHA physical form. You can see a link here, or the QR code on the far left also takes you to it. There's a pre-participation form that also is required for insurance and concussions. Again, a link or the QR code. And then West Middle School has a behavior code of conduct form and grade conduct form. And again, the link or the QR code. The physical form signed by the doctor is only due once every 2 years. So if you get that between 6th and 7th grade, when you become eligible for sports in 7th grade, you only need it once in middle school. The concussion and insurance form, as well as the behavior form, is due every year. Once practice begins and throughout the season, students must participate in a minimum of 14 conditioning practices, again only one per day, before the athlete can compete in a game. This is primarily for fall sports and specifically outdoor sports like cross country and football to acclimatize the athletes to being outside in the heat and competing in the heat. MSHA requires that all students must be passing their classes at IPR. West Middle School and Columbia Public Schools expect that you are never failing a class in season, and we will have grade checks. MSHA also expects that students maintain proper citizenship. West Middle School has a higher expectation of that, and we'll talk more with your individual coaches, but we do expect our athletes to be leaders on the field and in the classroom. Referrals and other behavior issues will jeopardize their ability to play. Just as an FYI for many parents who are new to school sports, you cannot participate in that same sport with your club team during the same season. For example, if your daughter is playing volleyball in the fall, they cannot play club volleyball during the fall. As soon as they start practicing with the school, they cannot return to that club team until they are released from their season with the school. To participate in practice or competitions, students must attend more than half of the school day for that day's competition. In other words, if a student misses the day of school, they are not allowed to participate in the game or practice that evening. Transportation. All practices will be at West Middle School at the time the head coach and school can schedule together. When possible, it will be immediately after school. Cheerleading and volleyball, cross country will almost always immediately practice after school. There are times when football decides to practice in the evening because at certain temperatures, we cannot practice outside. We cannot practice in pads or helmets. So sometimes coach will say ahead of time that we're going to practice in the evening so that we can get a full practice. That's also true of basketball, having 4 teams and only one gym. Only one team can practice after school. If that poses a problem for you, please contact me or your specific sports coach, and we will be happy to try and come up with a solution that works for everybody. West Middle School will have a bus for games that are either outside the city limits or that the game starts before 6 p.m. In other words, we do not have a bus for any games that are inside the city limits that start after 6 p.m. The reason for that is if they are inside the city limits and after 6 p.m., the assumption is that the student can go home and get a ride from a family member. If you know you will have transportation issues because of that, we encourage you to contact someone from the same sport that you know that you could possibly get a ride from, or contact the coach and we'll try and again make some type of arrangement to help you. If you have a question for the coach, West Middle School believes it has hired the coaches that are determined to help our student athletes reach their highest levels of athletic performance, as well as holding them accountable for being better people and reaching their best personal goals. If you have any questions for coaches, we do ask that you reach for them with a couple of considerations. Encourage your student athlete to approach the coach and become their own self-advocate. As a 7th and 8th grader and beyond, coaches will expect your student to speak up for themselves. It's a good life skill, both in school as well as socially and professionally as an adult. If you have an issue about a practice or game, we ask that you wait 24 hours minimum to speak with the coach about that event. That allows for all the emotions of the game or the practice to subside. Nothing good usually comes from 2 people who are upset trying to talk out a situation. We do ask that if you meet with the coach, that you bring your student athlete with you. We found that many times the coach has communicated the expectations or the reason for a certain event to happen to the athlete, but the athlete has not properly communicated that to the parents. We also ask that you have a discussion with the coach before contacting me or any other school administration. Sportsmanship guidelines. At West Middle School, we have expectations of sportsmanship, both of our athletes and our spectators and our adults. We support our team by cheering when we do well and encouraging when we are not doing as well. The game is for the athletes. The coaches are giving their time to provide this opportunity for the athletes. Show respect for the officials' decisions and encourage others to do the same. The game would not occur without them. Do not use bad language, harass athletes, coaches, or officials or other spectators. Young people learn by seeing your example. Always show good sportsmanship. On the side, parents, please, you need to also understand that across the country, we are losing officials who are just walking out. Some because of retirement, many because of the abuse they're taking from students and spectators. In Columbia, we have had to cancel games because we had no officials, or even run middle school basketball games with only one official because we couldn't get a second. Please show the officials we're thankful for the time they're giving us and support them when they're here. I have some handouts for you. The link for the 2-year physical, the link to the annual insurance and concussion form, the annual family behavior contract, as well as an article titled 10 Reasons Why High School Sports Benefit Students, and an article entitled Regarding Sportsmanship, It's Time for a Wake-Up Call for High School Sports. Again, that goes back to the making sure we treat officials with respect and honor because they are doing us a service. They're helping make our game better, and without them, we don't have a game. If you think of any questions, feel free to ask. Again, here's my contact information. Go Vikings!